Buenos días, ¿qué tal? ¿Cómo están? Good morning, guys. Sorry, I'm a little bit late. Hey, Evelyn, ¿cómo estás? Buenos días.
Good morning.
Hi, Enrique. Hi,
Good
everyone.
morning.
Morning.
Let's see. We got Juan, ¿cómo estás? Ya te vi. Buenos días.
Hola.
Paul, good morning. Demos un par de minutos. Let's just give a couple of minutes for people to join, and then we can jump right in. And I apologize in advance that I've been switching back and forth from English to Spanish, but somewhat used to it at the now. All right, I think 5 minutes is enough. I want to be very, very mindful. Once again, I appreciate you guys joining. It's always interesting talking to you, and just catching up is great for me. So thanks. Thanks for doing it. Let's start very briefly, kind of maybe not introducing each other, because I believe that everyone has been here in a couple of calls before, but briefly introduction just in case, and then just how you seeing the situation, any kind of developments from our last meeting, anything that has changed, anything that worries you, anything that excites you. Just share a little bit of kind of how you see the situation, and then at the end we can just open
Sure.
up for some additional Q&A. Fernando, go ahead.
Hola, buenos días.
Muy buenos días. ¿Cómo estás, Fernando?
Bien, bien.
Perfecto. Y bueno, podemos hacerlo en español o en inglés. Y bueno, con AI podemos traducir también cualquier cosa que se tenga que traducir después.
Sí.
James, you're okay with Spanish, right?
Mostly.
Oh,
I'll manage.
okay. No worries. We'll switch back and forth. But again, my point, feel free to share the thoughts in Spanish. And if you do, then I'll be more than happy to quickly translate so everyone can express in whatever language seems or feels more natural. All right, I'll start with Fernando, porque si nos hace el favor de presentarse brevemente y bueno, decirnos cómo ve la situación, dónde está y cómo ve la situación en Venezuela.
No está complicado, creo que se empieza un poquito a aclarar la situación en Venezuela. Mira, yo soy Fernando Magaña y soy el presidente de la Cámara de Comercio México-Venezolana.
Mexican Venezuelan Chamber of Commerce. So welcome, Fernando. He was just introduced himself. Go ahead, Fernando.
Sí, mira, no es problemática, se está aclarando un poco ya las situaciones allí en Venezuela, pero pues van muy lentas, la verdad sí. Y lógicamente quien está llegando primero allí, pues es Estados Unidos.
Claro.
México está un poquito más lento, todavía sí. Inclusive yo estoy tratando de hacer un primer viaje de acercamiento para allá, sí, ajá. Pero pues tengo que conseguirlo y que las autoridades de Venezuela me reciban. Sin embargo, sí están ellos dispuestos a recibirnos para allá, sí.
To translate some of these in the chat section so it'll be
Ajá.
easier for you. But Fernando's actually trying to work and put together something very interesting. As president of the Mexican Venezuelan Chamber of Commerce, he's trying to organize a trade delegation. He's actually been reaching out to some authorities in Venezuela. He thinks that the situation is stable, but very slow, going slowly. And he is trying to see if the Venezuelan government can allow a delegation of Mexican business owners and entrepreneurs to go to Venezuela in the next couple of months, which I think would be amazing. And I'm pretty sure, Fernando, through the contacts that we might have, there could be some additional support to make this happen. And if you don't mind, I would love to go if you invite me. That sounds like a really interesting and amazing opportunity. So, perdón, Fernando, adelante, le estaba explicando a James y ahora sí ya podemos hacerlo en español.
Primero porque va a ser ya pues, un poco más económico el ir para allá, ¿no? Sí, que
Ahorita, ¿cuánto cuesta ir de México a Venezuela?
aproximadamente son 18,000 pesos, sí, como $800. Ujú, sí, ujú. Así que lo que si entra mexicana de versión, en lugar de va a costar $600. Eso es bueno para nosotros, ¿no?
Sí, es mejor. Fernando, una pregunta general.
Sí,
¿Cuántos miembros tiene la Cámara? Cuéntanos un poco más de la Cámara.
mire, somos 60,000 activos ahorita. ¿Por qué? Pues porque tenemos más de 15 años que no tenemos comercio, ¿no? Algunas mismas empresas han desaparecido, los cambios que ha habido, pero actualmente somos 60 empresarios.
¿Y la mayoría en la Ciudad de México o están dispersados?
La mayoría es la Ciudad de México, sí, tenemos como 10, por ejemplo, no, son 8 en Monterrey, y 5 en Guadalajara.
Qué
Ajá,
bien,
sí, y los demás bueno, sí, aquí la Ciudad de México y el Estado de México.
qué bien. Pues sí, felicidades. 60 sí todavía bastante para no tener nada de comercio durante tantos años. Me parece que Pues bueno, me imagino que emocionado de que pudiera haber mejores oportunidades.
Exactamente, sí. Y yo creo que pues ahora sí que conforme se vaya abriendo un poco más Venezuela también, pues vamos a tener más oportunidades. Se empezó a cerrar esto, sí, cuando yo llegué a la presidencia de la Cámara, sí, teníamos un intercambio de 10.000 millones de dólares anuales. Ahorita no hay ni 500 millones, ¿no? Ujú.
Sí, pues me imagino que sí, es un impacto grande. Espero que también próximamente eso cambie. Fernando, como es la primera vez que usted nos acompaña, si pudiera por favor poner su email en el chat ahí para que todo el mundo nos tenga a favor y lo pueda contactar si hay necesidad. Y mil
Ah,
gracias,
sí, lo que
bienvenido.
gusten.
Bienvenido. Estas llamadas, las tenemos regularmente, pues con gusto, ojalá
Sí.
nos pueda acompañar en la que sigue.
Ah, claro que sí, con mucho gusto. Les aclaro esto, sí. Como tenemos ahorita en las perspectivas de ir para allá, para Venezuela, por ejemplo, no tenemos página de internet, pues porque como no teníamos nada de comercio,
Claro.
las vamos a reactivar todo, pero pensamos nosotros aquí en México que todo va a ser después del Mundial de Fútbol. Sí, ya nadie mañana trabaja. Pasando el Mundial, o sea, dentro de un mes, ya vamos a activar todo nuevamente, así.
Me parece perfecto y
De
gracias.
todos modos, yo pongo el mío personal.
Y para que lo podamos contactar y estemos
Sí.
en contacto con usted y muchas gracias. Evelyn, ¿cómo estás? ¿Cómo te va? Si quieres compartirnos algo y, bueno, presentarte para Fernando y Octavio que a
Sí.
lo mejor no te conocen.
Ah,
Evelyn,
You asked me a question, Enrique. Excuse me.
I
I
don't worry about it. I did. Again, my brain sometimes just takes a little to translate, but I wanted to see if you could introduce yourself and then tell us a little bit about how are you feeling and what's the latest since last time we spoke.
am always interested in the World Cup. Also, love to watch it with my family. I'm here because I have a deep interest with my Latin artist friends, particularly, and I like to keep abreast of what is happening and see how I can open up discussions, keep my ears tuned to connect people wherever possible.
Well, thank you so much. It's always good to see you. So who do you think is going to win the World Cup, Evelyn?
I am so open. I always like to see that pressure come at the end.
That's a good answer. Thank you so much for joining. As always, a pleasure having you here with us, and thanks for connecting. James, do you want to go next?
Sure. We've looked at Venezuela a number of times. There's a fellow over there that wants us to go there and help set up a business with software for logistics and Monte Carlos. And we haven't pushed the button yet. So I joined because my wife and I plan to go there sometime in the next 3 months and decide what to do.
Well, that's very exciting, James. Thanks again for joining and sharing that. I think we already have your contact info, but so before you leave or a month or so, just send me a quick email. I'll introduce you to a couple of friends in Venezuela. Juan is there. I'm sure he knows a lot of people as well that at least can guide you in the right direction. So thanks.
Oh, thank you.
Don Pedro, do you want to go next?
Yeah, sure. I'm Pedro Kenochke. I grew up in Venezuela. Left Venezuela in 2004 to go to business school with my friend Enrique here. I probably don't have many business links with Venezuela, but I always stay up to date. I have aunts and cousins there. The situation there, from what I see, it's the same. It's kind of wait and see. People are getting impatient. I think things are better. The other day I heard that there's some isolated things about express kidnapping that kind of worries me always, like the safety of, at least in the capital. But I'm here to see if I can help and connect people with other people, and also hear other perspective of people who are really in Venezuela in terms of how we can help. I mean, the past meetings have been amazed about how many groups, NGOs are working to help, and it was pretty amazing.
Thank you, Pedro. And I agree with you. Juan, last but not least, we'll close this session with you. How are you feeling? How are you doing? What's the latest?
What's the latest? Every day a new change. Hello, everyone. You want me to go in English or Spanish?
English is fine. And Luisa, if you can translate into Spanish, because I think Fernando might benefit from that.
Okay. Regarding Fernando's side, yeah, of course, the trade between Mexico and Venezuela was reduced when we were out of G3 agreement, and most of the vendors were changed into Brazil mainly at that time. But we're still seeing some shipments from Mexico. It's not the same as before, but still there. Some businesses are opening. We're receiving a massive amount of inquiries every day of people asking about reopening, regaining some market shares and things like that. The biggest problem, as I mentioned before, is the legal frame. We still have problems with our legal frame. We have many laws that must be void or changed very soon. Otherwise, it will be impossible to make big investments in Venezuela. This is not
only, I mean, do you think it's slowly changing a little bit, or no? I mean, from last time we spoke a month ago to today, same?
Some of them has been changed because they were forced to. The pressure was strong enough, so they have to give up some of the things that they wanted. One of the recent ones was one related with oil and gas. And in that law, the government had the right to just cancel the contracts at any time without any reason. And this clause was taken out of the law because of the pressure that was received for foreign companies. They put it like as a compulsory thing that they cannot have these kind of clauses in the contracts if they want to come. So nowadays, oil and gas sector is the biggest improvement in our economy, but the rest of the sectors are struggling. And one of the biggest problems we're still having is the electricity. We don't have power in the majority of the country 24 hours straight. Actually, we even have to shut down elevators here where my office is in Caracas for 4 hours a day.
Wow.
And this is because we are having serious problems with the power, and some companies that wants to start over again, they cannot because there is no electricity. It was said by our, I will not say government, but whatever it is, that the new players must bring all the power plants with them if they want to do new operations because there is not enough power. So the two biggest companies that we rely on based in our technology, which are Siemens and all the groups from General Electric, came, but they said that they still have debts and they don't want to receive a direct contract with the Venezuelan government because they have a very bad experience regarding payments before. So these kind of mechanisms are in discussion right now of how they're going to get paid, of how big are going to be the projects and things like that. So banks such as the CAF are involved in this kind of projects, but we will not see that projects coming until mid of next year, I will say, because not only the contract side, but also production side, and also all the things that the projects must contemplate before it starts. Other thing that we're seeing is that some military force from the government went down into the south to the mining sector of the country. That was totally wrong. It was no law whatsoever in that sector, and they are trying to take over the control of the area again. And this is because there are companies which are interested in the exploration and exploitation of the sector in a proper way, because also in the environmentally sector of that is a total disaster what's going on. So this must be controlled. This is one of the things that we're seeing. It's very recent, I will say a few days ago. Other than that, people is complaining that they are not getting the aid. We know that some medicines are coming and things like that, but the people is not seeing them. People, as Pedro mentioned, is in some places desperate because they are not getting aid. Our economy still very fragile and small. We used to have an economy of $400 billion 10 years, no more, like 17 years ago, and now we're in 20-30 billion economy. So people is here, but without jobs that are paying enough for them to sustain their cost of living. And Venezuela is very expensive right now, if I have to compare with other countries. So this is pretty much the situation regarding security. We are not seeing that amount of express kidnaps. Might be 1 or 2 cases isolated. What is happening right now, and what I'm going to say is very tough, I know, is that all the crime that is coming back into the country is getting reduced by the government in some ways. And I will not make any deeper comment on that, but I think you are smart enough to understand what I'm saying. So they are putting this under control, and it's not going like it was before. So don't be afraid of that. It's not going to come back. And we know this for certain. So I don't know if is the proper time to go around the country, because you will have many problems with electricity, many problems with the fuel and things like that. But some points you can go, by plane, by things, and it will be okay. But you have to choose very carefully where to go.
Well, Juan, thank you so much. That was very, very comprehensive. And I was going to see if, first and foremost, anyone had any questions. And thank you again. I know that you being the person in Venezuela living there day to day, you have been great for this conversation. So I wanted to thank you for sharing your time and experience with all of us. For the group, any kind of a general question for Juan before we kind of move on to the next part? Okay. So Luisa, for all of you that don't know her, is in our team. Luisa, you want to give a quick intro? And Octavio is also in our team. I think Octavio was the one that invited Fernando. And I see George. How are you doing, George? So before I go with Luisa and Octavio, who are both on my team, and I would just go to you, George, if you want a quick intro. I mean, I guess everyone knows you, and and Fernando just jumped out. So how are you doing? How are you feeling? And do you have any updates or questions?
Well, we've been exceptionally busy as of late, but I do apologize for jumping in so late on the call.
That's okay.
It's been a crazy morning on my side. I'm here to see if I can be of assistance to anybody on the team here, and maybe, develop partnerships and friendships over the years, right?
Well, you already have a couple friendships, George, at least one with me. So count with that.
Awesome.
And anything different from last time? I mean, have you heard anything differently or
No,
very similar?
not really. Well, I've heard that in the upcoming months there'll be increase in traffic. At least I've client of mine that's beginning to be cautiously optimistic about shipping things back into Venezuela. But again, we don't know how once their comfort level is at the right level, so we could begin working with them.
Well,
this is
I
Sorry, go
totally agree with you on what Juan was saying, and I think I wanted to share from what I see and personal experience. We've been contacting by a lot of potential, U.S. clients that want to start looking into shipping into Venezuela. One of them, Juan, that I will send you another separate email on this, is Whirlpool. I've been having conversations with Whirlpool for a while, as you know, and once again, 2 days ago, the director called me and asked me to once again look into Venezuela. They're really interested in doing it. So I do see in the market a lot more interest when it comes to actual shipping. So it's not people shipping as much yet, but there is definitely more conversations around it, and there's been a lot of quote requests that get to my office and my team to start quoting. So that is positive. George, you missed it because you were a little bit late, but Fernando is the president of the Mexican Venezuelan Chamber of Commerce in Mexico City. He was also telling us that he wants to organize a delegation to go visit Venezuela, and he also thinks or starts seeing that there's some movement there. It's still pretty slow. He confirmed what Pedro and Juan already mentioned, but it's low, but I guess compared to last month that we spoke, it is heading in the right direction. The legal frame, as Juan explained, is still one of the biggest hurdles. And then Octavio, who works also with us at Vector, brief intro so that people get to know you guys in case they want to reach out to you. And then we'll just move on to the next thing.
Thank you, Enrique. Hello, everyone. Usually I join these calls, but not turn on my camera usually. So I've been here before, but probably hidden. So just a quick intro. My name is Luisa Garcia. I am part of the Vector Global Logistics team. I'm based in Mexico, in Aguascalientes. We have two offices. One is in Monterrey and the other one is in Aguascalientes. I'm part of the marketing team and also part of the Logistic with Purpose podcast that we have in the company. And very proud to be part of these leveraging logistics for Venezuela calls. Sorry, my English. But the aim of this is to be aware of what is the situation besides of what we can understand from the news and from what we have in social media. So having these from people that is actually living the situation or actually close to it is very valuable for us to have the tools or the information to support in the ways that we can. And the first thing is to being informed to proceed in making connections and networking for actually leveraging logistics and support the situation that is currently happening in Venezuela. So anything that I can support you with, anything that you need from Vector, please count with us, and I will give you my LinkedIn in the chat and also my email, and I'll be happy to connect with all of you. So, well, that's me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Octavio, very briefly. And thank you, Octavio, for bringing Fernando. Fernando, hopefully, Fernando, a ver si a la próxima pues, llamada puede traer también a más miembros de la Cámara de Comercio. A lo mejor eso estaría interesante.
Well, I'm gonna introduce myself and I will talk with Fernando later just to follow up on this call. So I'm Octavio, I'm based in Mexico City as part of Vector's team here in the city, the capital city. So I'm developing new businesses and I met Fernando in a networking event. So I thought it would be very productive to invite him to this call and also for him to share his experience and his plans to arrange this trade delegation. So I'll be happy to help him and help everyone that needs support, at least here in the country, and speaking about the logistics in general.
Thank you, Octavio. And again, two things as we always do. One, want to schedule the next one, and then when do we need to schedule the next one? The idea is that we continue this community and we grow it. Of course, it has to add value to everyone. It has to be interesting. It has to be important. So and we don't know, right? So we've had other experiences in the past with different countries, and after the rains in Valencia, we had a couple of calls, and then we all decided that, hey, we already have our contact info. We don't need to keep having the calls. So what I'm trying to say is, if it's strategic and good and interesting, we will be more than happy to continue coordinating and having these calls. I think there's a little more traction now in Venezuela. So my unofficial read is that we might have started the calls a little earlier than in other conflicts. In Ukraine, it was, I think, spot on. I think we started the calls right when the conflict started, and that was the right thing to do. But I feel like the Venezuela calls could potentially become more productive in the future. But this is up to us, right? This is a community. So I'll ask the first question. Do you guys want to have another call? Yes or no? And you can just show of hands or just say whether you would like to have another call. Okay. Juan says yes, George yes, James, okay, Evelyn, okay. So let's have another call. The question is, should next call 1 month from now, or should we skip 1 month and then do it 2 months from now? And of course, everyone knows, as Fernando mentions, the World Cup is the next month, so no one will be paying attention to anything else. No, half jokingly. So 2 months, Juan says 2 months. Pedro, 1 month, Pedro, 2, 1 or 2, okay, James?
I'm still new at this, so I'm keen to learn more. So
James,
1 month
you
is
will
fine.
go to Venezuela, so regardless, do reach out to me and Juan, and we'll help you for your trip to Venezuela.
It's probably in September.
Okay, all right, so we still have time for that.
Yeah.
George, what about you? Do you feel 1 month so that we keep the continuity going and the momentum, or just skip 1, do it in 2, bring more people?
Open to either way. I mean, I'm not, I have 1 month is great. I get to, see you all guys, at least keep in touch.
If that's the case, why don't we just have like a very short call in 1 month, if it's just to say hi? I do believe and kind of agree with Juan that things are going to start happening more into the future. So at some point, we will probably have to change them to maybe every 2 months. But Luisa, let's keep them for next month. I think the one reason why I think this could be a good idea is because Fernando is going to open them up to the Venezuela Mexican Chamber of Commerce. And so I'm hoping some of those members will like to join. So Octavio and Luisa, if you can take a note, follow up with Fernando and make sure that for the next month meeting, we have some of the members of the Venezuelan Mexican Chamber joining. I think that will make the call more dynamic and of course more productive. And I think everyone else will benefit from that. And Juan, I think that could be interesting for you as well from a shipping standpoint. I think there's going to be hopefully some members that want to restart conducting business with Venezuela. So that could be interesting opportunity. Same for you, George, and of course, James, same from a software standpoint. All right, I have nothing else. I will leave you with one quick question for each. In one word, if you could describe how you're feeling right now before we hang up, just one word describing your feeling before you leave. And I'll start with my team because I feel like I can push them a little bit harder. Luisa, what's your one word closing?
I know I was gonna be the first for some reason.
I always pick on you. I know. I'm
I
sorry.
know.
Sorry. You're very efficient. It's not my fault.
Okay, my word for closing this is optimistic.
Optimist. Octavio?
Yeah, I was gonna say the same one, so I'll change it to excited.
Excited. James?
Curious.
Curious. Evelyn?
That was mine. I'll say hopeful.
All right. Pedro?
Grateful.
Grateful. George?
Grateful you beat me to it.
All right.
Faith,
What was it?
faith, faith.
Great. All right. Fernando, palabra para describir sus sentimientos antes de que concluyamos esta llamada. I was going to say grateful too, but my word is going to be now. I'm energized. Energized. All right. Let's go. Hopefully Mexico will win the World Cup and everyone will be happy. See you guys.
And my favorite.
Thank you, guys.
For a sec.
Yes.